Alrighty, and so in this video we'll be talking about a harsh reality about trading. Okay, so this is a very big issue that I see with many traders, and this issue, it leads to a lot of lost money, but also this is probably one of the biggest reasons or one of the biggest causes of blown up accounts. This is what I'm about to tell you right here. So here's what you need to understand about trading and with any strategy that you have. Doesn't matter the strategy. It doesn't matter if you trade SMC. It doesn't matter if you trade supply and demand. It doesn't matter if you trade with indicators, support, resistance. Does not fucking matter. What you need to understand that with every single strategy, you're going to have periods that are very hot. You're going to be like on a streak, like one after another, one after another, one after another, banger setup after banger setup after banger setup, just perfect follow through. It's like, and you're going to feel on top of the world at those times. You're going to be like, dang, there is nobody that does it as good as me, right? That's what you're going to be feeling. You'll be like, man, I'm next level. I'm reading these charts. I'm reading these charts like nobody's business. There ain't nobody reading these charts like me. All right, we've all been there. We've been in that mind state where it's just like you're on fire and you're doing really good with your strategy. That happens with all systems. But you know what also happens? And people don't consider this, or they're not prepared for this, I'll say. There's also going to be times, and this is with every strategy, I don't care what you trade, even if it's SMC, even if it's ICT, there should be times where your strategy, your model, it's going to having consistent losses. Where you're on a losing streak, you're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 losses in a row with that strategy. It's going to happen. Prepare for it. Okay. And you know what happens? Most traders, whenever that occurs, they're not mentally prepared to handle that. And it's because they're too used, or they've been conditioned by those winning streaks. Whenever like the strategy is performing very well, they're getting really good fall through. And you know what a lot of people will do whenever they are hit with a slow time that is going to happen. As I just said, every single strategy, you're going to face slow periods. You're going to face drawdowns. You're going to face losing streaks. It's going to happen. And what happens whenever traders are faced with this harsh reality of trading is they're not prepared for it. They don't know how to handle it because they got used to the winning streak. They got used to having those layups, those setups that are just working left and right. And what will happen at this point with a lot of people is they'll try to force something that's not there because they're used to that old environment where they had a bunch of winning trade setups, everything was falling through. So now they're trying to force that. They're trying to force that in this new environment where the follow through is just not there. And you can only take what the market provides you with. If the market doesn't support your setup, if you're not getting that follow through, then you can't force it. And that's what I see a lot of people do, is they get used to that environment and they're attached to it. They're attached to that old environment where their setups were having really good follow through. And now when they have a new market where it's complete crap, well then they'll still try to force that same style. Like they'll start to like invent things in their mind. They'll start to look for things on the chart that is not there. And it's because they have that attachment to that old market environment. And they'll also, this is where you'll get more emotional. You'll start revenge trading. You'll start up on your sides when you're faced with L's. Like this is, if you really study it, for a lot of you, this is when this happens, because you may have started off, really good fall through, seeing really good, again, as I was saying, setups left and right, just, winner after winner after winner. And then, but that changes. Again, you got to be able to ride the waves with the market. The market isn't always going to be hot like that. It's not always going to provide you with consistent winners. There's going to be times where it slows down. And then what you do then is key. What you do then is key once it slows down. Okay. There's a time to build, and then there's a time to survive in the marketplace. Okay. Those times where it's hot and your setups, one after another, you're getting banger setups. Well, then guess what? That's where you build. That's where you rack up that money, rack up that capital. But then once it slows down, you got to know, there's just a time to survive. And those are like those drawdown periods. Those are those periods where it seems like nothing's sticking on the chart. And that's going to happen with every single one of you that are listening to this. You're going to have those periods where, where you face drawdowns, where you face losing streaks, like one after another, one loss after another. And it's like nothing is sticking on the chart. It's like nothing is getting fall through. And that happens with every single strategy. It doesn't matter what the fuck you trade. Every single strategy, you're going to have that scenario play out. You can't avoid that. You know what you do in those instances? You know what you do at those key times? That's where you manage risk. Or you already should be managing risk, of course, but all you can do in those times is it's not really focused on building capital. You're just focused on surviving. And how do you survive? Risk management. Okay. You need to manage risk properly. So I'm going to give you another tip here. I don't personally do this. I keep my risk the same, even if I'm taking, consecutive L's, and I'm still going to keep my risk the same amount. But what I find that suits some people is to decrease their risk once they have an L. So for example, let's say you take an L with full risk, right? In this environment. After you take an L, cut down your risk in half and on the next trade, and then only bump up your risk. And you're going to keep doing this after every L, by the way. You're going to keep decreasing your risk. You're going to keep cutting size in half after each L, and you're only going to bump up the risk once you recouped that previous L. Okay? And it's like impossible to blow up if you do that. Okay? So that's just one little tip. I don't personally do that, again, but it's a good way if you're a beginner and you're, psychologically, you're not at the point where you can really handle it. That's a tip I can give you if you're at that point. A really good way to manage risk in these environments, because it's going to happen. Like, you're going to have these periods where, the market's complete dog shit. And then what do you do at that point? You can't force what's not there. You cannot force your trade setup on the chart. You just got to let it unfold. Okay. There's going to be times like you're going to get it because it comes back around. Whenever you're in that slow period and you're not getting any follow through whatsoever, in that moment you think, well, damn, this market is going to be like this forever, right? It's going to be slow forever. It's not. It's going to come back around and you're going to get good setups again. But you got to be able to survive that slow period so you can reap those hot setups when they come back again. Okay. And you only get there by managing risk, by staying level headed. Because during these times, most people, they're going to go unhinged. All right. They're going to start taking crazy risk. They're going to they just go off the rails. And that happens and as I was saying, that's like a key time, probably where most of the accounts are blown up. Where most people's accounts are blown up during these times is when they hit those losing streaks, right? So it's just a very important reality of this business that you have to accept. You're not, like, your setup's not always going to be hot 100% of the time. Okay. You got to be able to survive those slow periods. And then if you can survive those slow periods where the market's complete dog shit, well, then it's going to roll back around. It's going to get hot again. And then you can build again. And then you gotta learn to ride the waves of the marketplace. That's the harsh reality of this business. And not a lot of people learn, or a lot of newbies, a lot of beginners, they don't understand that. Okay. They get too used to those hot environments and they think it's always going to last, and it's not. Slow environments, they're not always going to last either. It's a wave. Like, you got to ride the waves, and that's just a part of this business. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you later.